Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing create positive ripples. So before we get into the podcast, I just want to let you know about my website, dateme.tips. That's www.dateme.tips. Do you need help trying to save your crumbling relationship? Would you like advice on how to try and get your ex back? Or maybe you need an action plan on how to try and get a girlfriend or boyfriend. I provide email coaching on all of these subjects and can help your specific situation. Visit my website dateme.tips to find out more details. That's www.dateme.tips. You will also find on my site the books that I've written, my clothing range, and other information. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing create positive ripples. So everything you do in life is going to affect different people in different ways, and not only will it impact one particular person, it is going to have a ripple effect for people that are associated with them, as well as yourself and people associated with you. So you can create these ripples in a positive or a negative way, and it probably goes without saying that you want to be trying to create positive ripples. If you do that, then you're going to be making somebody feel great. You're going to be really improving their day. You're going to make them feel happy. You're going to make them feel more positive. But that is also going to have an effect on other people as well. It's going to have an effect on people who connect with that person. And it's also going to affect yourself and possibly people who associate with you as well. So that is obviously a fantastic byproduct, that you can try to create a positive ripple which affects one person positively, but not only is it affecting them positively, it's affecting people they know, and it's also going to be affecting you positively and people you know. So based around that, you can see that positive ripples do an awful lot of good. And from a non-selfish perspective, just from a factual point of view, you are also going to start feeling good by trying to create positive ripples. So let me go into a little bit more detail about how this could be. So let's imagine that you're just walking along down a road and you walk past somebody who's not looking very happy. They're sitting on a bench and you just smile at them. You say hello. You just say, "Are you all right?" Just something kind of basic like that. And all of a sudden, they smile back at you, and, they might not go into detail about what's wrong. Maybe they don't want to, but the fact is that you've kind of broken them briefly out of how they was feeling. You've interacted with them positively just by doing something really simple, and they have acknowledged you back. They've smiled, they've said hello. Yeah, okay, maybe they forced that smile, but the fact is you've kind of broke the negativity that they was in, albeit just briefly. And you don't know what is going to kind of come of that, okay? So at a very basic level, maybe that is all that happens. They smile and say hello back and you go on with your day. Now, you don't know whether that person may have been feeling very lonely, okay? And from what you have done, just something so simplistic, you have broken their negativity feeling at that moment. And what that now means is wherever they're going on their day, they are going to quite possibly interact in a slightly more positive way. Because let's pretend they was going to be going to a shop afterwards. They would probably have been looking quite upset as they walked into a shop. Whereas now, okay, yeah, they might slip back into it at some stage, depending how big a problem they've got and how they're feeling. But if it was just something that you've been able to kind of break them out of, then all of a sudden they go into that shop and they are feeling more positive, even if just briefly, and they're probably going to be smiling at other people. And, that can subconsciously make their day as well. It might sound so simple, but it's very, very true. So how can it affect the other way? Well, okay, so they've smiled back at yourself and said hello, and that is going to subconsciously give you just a little bit of a glow, a little bit of a self-esteem boost, because deep down you've acknowledged somebody who wasn't particularly looking very happy at that moment and they've kind of smiled at you, that just makes you feel a little bit better. And then you carry that on in your interactions as well. Now, as I said, that's kind of like the most basic possibility, but sometimes, things can be a lot more in depth than that. So let's imagine the same situation, but it's just a little bit deeper. So you're walking along the road, you see somebody sitting down on a bench, they're looking quite upset, maybe they're crying, and you approach them, you say, hello, are you okay? And they reply to you and they tell you that they're very upset because of like whatever reason. So this time around, they're actually telling you just a little bit more detail about their problem. And who knows, depending on what they say, maybe you could actually help. It obviously, of course, depends on what they say, but maybe you could help. Or even if you couldn't help, maybe you could give them some advice. Maybe you could point them in the right direction of something. Who knows? Maybe they was lost. Maybe they wanted to know where something was. Maybe they just needed a little bit of help. Okay. And if they're going to be giving you more feedback, then that, of course, is going to ratify on yourself. And that is going to make you feel better. But theoretically, it can go further than that. So let's pretend that they were saying they're lost, okay? And they're late for something and they don't know where they're going. And you tell them where to go. You know the direction, so you make the suggestion. You say, okay, you go this way and then you go that way. And then who knows, maybe they will say thank you so much and they'll hand you a little bit of money. Okay, you just don't know. And I'm not saying you should be doing things in the hope of being rewarded, but I'm just saying that this is what I mean by positive ripples. Okay, so this person in this this story that we're just kind of concocting is lost and they are late for something. You help them out, you tell them where to go, they're very grateful, they hand you a small amount of money. It doesn't have to be much, just a small amount of money. You're very grateful, okay, so that makes you feel good. And then all of a sudden you've got this small amount of money. So what do? You carry on walking and then you decide to pop into the local shop and then you buy something with that small amount of money. And all of a sudden that local shop, they're happier because they have now just had another sale, okay? And this is what I mean by positive ripples. And it's obviously something that is like impossible to describe every scenario because it's limitless. And from the very basic of just feeling good that you've smiled at somebody and they've smiled at you back, and that puts you both in a better mood to pass on. Or something that's a little bit more in depth, maybe you've helped somebody with a more difficult problem and they've actually kind of like rewarded you, okay? Not that you should be aiming for a reward, as I said at the start, but maybe they have. They've actually rewarded you, they've given you a few pounds, a few dollars, whatever your currency is, and then you've gone on and you've spent it in a local shop, a local convenience store. So then they're happier because you've made a sale there that obviously wouldn't have happened. And this is how these ripples go, okay? It's a little bit like the butterfly effect that people talk about when they say that, one tiny action somewhere can have massive repercussions further down the line. Well, this is more about just thinking within the confines of ripples, positive or negative. And if you can make them positive, it doesn't matter how small they are, but you can be making these ripples feel a lot further than you could ever imagine. They go a lot further, they make a lot more people happy, whether it's subconscious or whether they understand totally why they feel happy. It's going down the line that way, and it also goes down the line with you. It affects you because when we make somebody feel happy, we get that little glow, okay? We feel a bit better about ourselves, and then that will affect people we interact with because we're happier, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you realise that, whether it's something you do something very small or whether you do something a lot larger, at the end of the day, if we can be aiming to try to make people happy, it's not often a very hard task. As I said, it could be just as simplistic as smiling at somebody. This type of positivity can really spread. It can go all the way through one way, it can go all the way through the other way. It can make them feel better, it can make you feel better. So just remember, when you're walking out and about, just smiling at somebody, just saying hello, just helping somebody out, whether you know them very well or maybe you don't, obviously use your common sense. Don't go overboard with people. in situations that you're not really comfortable with. Use your common sense, as I always say. But if you can make somebody feel happy, if you can give them a better day than they are already having, then these positive ripples are going to go long and they're going to go far.